Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something huge, a single meeting that could literally change the course of a 4-year war. The US and Russia just announced a presidential summit, and it's got the whole world asking one massive question. Could a handshake between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin actually bring peace to Ukraine? It's a heavy question, I know, but it's exactly what we're going to unpack today. We're going to look at the details of this summit, the staggering stakes involved, and what this high-risk, high-reward diplomacy could mean for peace, for freedom, and for the global economy. So, let's dive in. So, what's actually happening here? Look, this is not just another political photo op. This is a high-stakes gamble, a summit that was announced with shocking speed, all set against the backdrop of a brutal 4-year-long war. To really get why this is such a big deal, you gotta look at how we got here. The conflict kicks off in February 2022 with Russia's full-scale invasion. Fast forward through years of brutal fighting to a major political shift. Donald Trump returns to the presidency in January 2025. And then, boom, just a few months later, on August 9th, this summit is announced for August 15th. And the location, Alaska, well, that's telling. It's not just some symbolic bridge. It's neutral ground for a meeting that could seriously reshape the world. Now, the official line coming out of Moscow, it's very carefully worded. A top Kremlin aide says the focus is on finding a peaceful resolution. That phrasing is important. It signals that, publicly at least, both sides want this to look like a genuine attempt to end the war. Okay, so why is this meeting so critical? To really understand that, we have to face the staggering cost of this war. I mean, for 4 years, this conflict has taken a devastating toll, not just on the battlefield, but on millions of human lives and on the entire global economy. First, the human cost. And that number, millions, it's almost too big to wrap your head around. Millions of people forced from their homes, their entire lives just shattered by the violence. Behind that one word is a universe of individual stories of loss, fear, and survival. And beyond that human tragedy, the economic shockwaves have hit every single one of us. The war has put a chokehold on global trade, especially for crucial things like energy and food. The result? A projected 2 to 3% hit to GDP in the regions most affected. That's a slowdown that messes with supply chains and hits pocketbooks all around the world. So no, this is not some distant conflict. We're all feeling its economic cost. But, the stakes here go even deeper than lives and money. This push for peace is, at its core, about something bigger. It's about reclaiming the very principles of freedom and democracy that just can't survive in a state of war. And this gets to a really fundamental truth, right? War is the ultimate enemy of freedom. It crushes individual liberty, it severs the free flow of trade and ideas, and it puts all those democratic values we talk about on life support. It is, by its very nature, hostile to an open and free society. So, you see, the promise of peace, it's so much more than just stopping the fighting. It's the chance to rebuild. It's about restoring a nation's right to determine its own future, about reopening the arteries of global trade, and about letting millions of people reclaim the basic freedoms they've lost. It's about creating a world where free people and free markets can actually flourish again. Okay, but let's take a breath here and be realistic. As incredible as the promise of peace is, the path to actually getting there is just incredibly rocky. This summit is a real glimmer of hope, for sure, but that hope is shadowed by some immense challenges. I mean, you've got this historic opportunity on one side. A chance to stop the bloodshed, to stabilize a shaky global economy. But then you look at the other side of the coin, and the hurdles are huge. Deep disagreements over territory, the real risk of weakening Western alliances, and just a massive lack of trust in Russia's true intentions. And that question, man, that really cuts right to the core of it, doesn't it? Diplomacy runs on trust, but after 4 years of war, trust is the scarcest resource on the planet. Trying to build that back, even a little bit, is going to be the central and maybe the hardest part of these talks. All right, so where does all this leave us? We are at a genuine turning point, a moment where the future could swing in a dramatically different direction. Let's take a look at what we might expect and what a possible path forward could even look like. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed, but a successful outcome would probably happen in stages. Step 1, the most critical step, would be getting a framework for a temporary ceasefire. That pause in the fighting would create the breathing room for step 2, deeper, more complicated negotiations. And then if all that holds, step 3 could be real relief from sanctions and tariffs, which would ease the economic pressure on the whole world.
In the end, though, this summit is about more than just this one conflict. It really raises a much bigger question for our time. In a world that feels more and more tense, could this be a sign that bold, face-to-face diplomacy is making a comeback as our best tool for peace? That's a hopeful thought, and you can bet the entire world is holding its breath to see the answer.